see what ends up happening. But I suppose
Let's move on.
that's enough Jaguars Bills. Let's move on to the third fantastic game. The fourth one was good, but this is the last fantastic game we got. And this one was on Saturday. It was Saturday night at Soldier Field. And this was a game that there was a lot of commotion about this one. Dan Orlovsky came out and said he gave the Bears a 0% chance to win this game, picking the Packers. I picked the Packers, but I did not give the Bears a 0% chance. In fact, I didn't put a number on it, but I would have gave them 49 based on the way that these first two games went. I said this one, certainly a coin flip, and the least confidence I have out of all the picks I made preparing for Wildcard weekend. And in this one, the Bears did come out victorious in an epic fashion, coming back down 3 scores at halftime and ending up winning 31-27. Caleb and Colston Loveland were unbelievable throughout this entire game, but all the other weapons also had moments where they showed up, like Roma Dunze on 4th down, who was aided by an amazing throw by Caleb, extending the play. Matt Lafleur for the Packers was a factor in choking this game. 2 delay of games on 3rd downs. 1 was after a timeout with a chance to basically ice this game and go take the lead.
Your chat was so funny with that issue. You're like,
yeah,
idiots.
Idiots. How do you have a delay of game after a timeout? And then you missed the field goal, and it was all with the lead in the fourth quarter.
Bring Matt Lafleur
and
back.
hold on, I'm finishing. I'm still talking. So on top of choking the 21-3 lead, he had a chance to come back and win it, improve his worth as an offensive mind. They get down to the 23, and what happens? False start. Sets them back, deflating their morale and their odds to win. They can't punch it in. They had a penalty on each of the last 4 drives of this game, which is just unbelievable. Now, the Bears, there's a lot we can talk about with them, but I want to talk about this right away because I knew you guys would barely be able to contain yourselves. It's unbelievable how the Packers coached the end of this game. Matt Lafleur has 1 year left on his contract. It was reported that they were working on an extension before this game. If you're the Packers and there's 1 year left on his contract, do you extend him? Do you play it out? Or would you fire Matt Lafleur?
I'm fired.
Why?
It's pretty easy.
He's done. That's it.
Why?
That's it. Why?
You blew a 21-3 lead to the Bears. I mean, what else do you need?
Well, the Bears are obviously a good team, but they blew a 21-3 lead.
You've played them close to the wire with Micah Parsons, without Micah Parsons, and now without Micah Parsons the second time, right? You want to talk about coaching here? You should be able to adjust, adapt, and be ready. You've played this coach, Ben Johnson, how many years? Again. Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, TikTok, no lost love. Ben Johnson went straight into his locker room after the game, and ran away, ran straight into the locker room, and he said, "Fuck the Packers." Like, I'm sorry, right? It's like, how many times do you have to play this team, and you're just like, as the Packers organization, oh, well, maybe we'll get him next year. No, he's done. That's it. Let's run it back. How many times are you going to do that ish? Right? And you're like, oh, like Michael Parsons was in the game. There was one sack that game, right? Pressures, throw that shit out the window. Like, I can't stand that freaking, that stat. Like, that is... Like that doesn't matter because I got a pressure on him. But if it's a 40-yard touchdown, what does that pressure matter? He almost got there. So
you had to be quicker than that.
You know what I mean, right? It agitates the mess out of me because then this game, the Packers won by an even bigger margin. No OT. No, none of that. It was straight play calling. They scored. It was done. And Jordan Love got the ball. We all texted each other at that moment when the Bears scored with that much time on the clock left. Why? Because normally...
That's too much time.
You got to perform. Matt Lafleur needs to come out and perform. And you know what he did? That's what he did. He choked. He fucking choked.
It's not the first time.
He's done.
You know,
I swear to God, it's like, to me, right? It's like I get it, right? Jerry Jones is going to look like the mastermind of the decade if they keep Matt Lafleur. Why? Because they won't go nowhere.
I really wonder. I
want to add, Scott, before we talk, let me just add more to the conversation here. At the end of the day, when you want to evaluate Matt Lafleur, it's worth noting since Rodgers left, the Packers have failed to finish higher than the 7 seed and going into the playoffs. That was like a recent expansion for the NFL playoffs, meaning if they never had that expansion, the Packers would have never made the playoffs since Rodgers left.
Literally.
They've never won.
They're also the only 7 seed to ever win a playoff game.
To also add to that, the Packers the Packers haven't won a division. Like the Bears won it. They have the longest division drought right now in their conference or in their division,
which is crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But hey, Matt Lafleur, you're such a great OC, man. Let's just keep you as our head coach. I as a Packers fan, I'm not embarrassed that you blew a 21-3 lead to the Bears. I really am not. I think we should keep you.
No,
I think you're so good.
I think you might be the guy for us next year. We just missed one guy that we needed to be able to make the plays. And even though the first time when we played, we only got 1 sack and he still almost caught us lacking. It was just that he didn't make the right throw the first time, made the right throw the second time, and then told my quarterback to make the game-winning drive, and he couldn't.
A guy who notably never shows up in the playoffs anyway, Micah Parsons.
Well, okay, all right.
And
Before
we get the mic up,
for all these years, is telling you that.
All right, so we're talking about we're focusing on Matt Lafleur. I want to respond with the because I will say this: there is how I feel. Shit, hey, quiet. It's my turn. I'm going now. So there's 2 different conversations here. There is what would I do, and then there's also kind of what I would like to add, which is what do I think they're going to do. What would I do? Honestly, I am someone who kind of does like to get ahead of the curve. And it really is a tough spot with Matt Lafleur because what he looks like to me always is.
What are you ahead of the curve on ever?
The Rams. I've been ahead of the curve on them for 2 years now, and I've been digging my heels in gladly.
They should have lost to the Panthers yesterday.
Right, but they didn't. If my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle, right? But anyway, we're focusing, like I said, on Matt Lafleur here, and what he reminds me of, which is what I would always, kind of, say he was encouraging from him, is he kind of reminds me of like a young Kyle Shanahan, like when he was on the Falcons, and he's been blowing like leads in the playoffs with the 49ers. He did it with the Falcons, famously, with the play calling and in the fourth quarter. And there's something about the guys in this, McVay, Shanahan tree, that there does seem like in some of them there is this ability to kind of choke away the game, like to not really know what to do with the offense once you take the lead against the Chiefs.
They were all part of the Andy Reid tree, right?
Lafleur?
No, I'm saying you're saying like the Shanahan McVay tree. I'm like, they both are from the Andy Reid tree.
Well, I kind of feel like Shanahan and McVay have done enough on their own, and they do a lot of single back stuff, like with like McCaffrey, and they like kind of running a lot more play action, whereas like the Chiefs are like, they kind of spread you out and kind of do the dink and dunk sort of thing, and I feel like it's been separated, and it's much more similar to what the 49ers do than what the Chiefs do, what the Packers try to do on offense. Kind of have like the run after catch weapons and, the run game, that's the core of the offense. And the Packers, what I got excited about with them, picking them to win the Super Bowl this season, was I felt like Jordan Love was a better quarterback than someone like Brock Purdy, who was potentially growing in a system that was going to become like San Francisco's, and they would have the good defense, and now they have the Nick Bosa and the Micah Parsons, and I feel like they have like a similar offensive structure with a better quarterback and a coach that might end up turning into Kyle Shanahan. So this is the vision in every Packers fan's head when they're thinking about reasons why you'd want to keep Matt Lafleur. So it's why I've always been careful about the idea of saying like we should fire him and all that kind of stuff. And this is why I guess I would say I don't think you can extend him after this. They were talking about it. I'm really torn between riding out the last year of that contract or firing him. But I would say I feel like you should ride out the last year and see what things look like with Parsons. But part of me says, well, things aren't going to be perfect. You know, if things have to be perfect to win, like the 2024 Eagles, it's tough. You can't really bank on that because last year it was the wide receivers that were injured. This year it's Micah Parsons. So what's wrong with the GM and the head coach leading this team that, you know, they're so close, they keep getting to the playoffs and they have potential, but there's always something missing. And
you're boring that
now,
man.
And now it's been the coach. And now the coach is now in question too. It's a lot of B pluses. It feels kind of like more like the Eagles, except they're failing at it, and you know there's always
this something that they need. Right? Is that we always want to blame injuries, Scotty, right? But at the same time, it's like Matthew Golden scored his first touchdown on that game.
Yep.
He was the first round pick for the Packers. So much hype, so much to look forward to. And I know your comment about Luther Burden and everything like that came yesterday and all that stuff about why wasn't he there, whatever the case was. It was like there was about 4 or 5 plays. I promise you Luther Burden would have scored a touchdown if Caleb Williams had the vision to be able to see that he was wide open. But also too, I was saying this like last night all the time, is that for some reason Colston Loveland got 99
He's a monster.
Accuracy. Yo, Colston Loveland had, when it was Caleb throwing to Loveland, it was 99 ball accuracy on the money, on the chest, no problem.
I think because
DJ
he's
Moore
like
missed them. Odunze missed them. Burden, you didn't even see him. Komet, I don't even know where he was, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, and this is what I don't get, right, with the whole concept of the Packers, right? Is like, so for example, you get rid of Lafleur, right? And because you want to keep this team together after Parsons just came here, because you're like, we believe in this unit, right? I don't think Lafleur is the only key issue to this Packers team. Joey, would you disagree?
No.
Okay. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the fact that every year we go into the playoffs as the Packers, I question who the number one guy is in terms of the offense, right? I question Jordan Love when it comes to pressure situations. And I question the secondary of the Packers when it matters the most. If I'm gonna be honest with you, right? But we're gonna keep this team, and this is what gets me about the Packers, right? Like, if I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I'm questioning everybody, not just LaFleur, right? You're gonna have your confident ones like Jacobs, Kraft, Golden. You just drafted them 100%. But why is the secondary that is supposed to be so good letting up all these yards, right? Not just to the Bears in the playoffs, also to the Bengals, also to the Browns. Oh, like, to me, it's like all these things that you should not be doing, you're doing. In the regular season, now the postseason, when it matters the most.
I think a big thing they need. Go ahead.
The only real stat that matters here, if you really want to break it down to just playoff success, the Packers are 1-5 in their last 6 playoff games. Who's the head coach?
Matt Lafleur.
There's no way you can justify blowing an 18-point lead to a hated division rival in the wild card round and be like, hey,
well, I mean, your common denominator is Jordan Love and LaFleur. That's your common denominators right
yes. There it is.
Yeah.
There's no justification for it. You could say LaFleur is great at all this. Either way, it's just the time is to move on. It's just how it is. That's just where we are. You have to move on. LaFleur needs a fresh start somewhere else, and they gotta move forward.
Yeah, I think the thing I agree with you the most is that this combination of theirs might have. It's not that LaFleur can't be a good coach and the Packers can't be a team that can win the Super Bowl, but maybe this isn't the right partnership, and maybe this has expired and gotten a little stale, and we need someone else to come in and make the most of it. Danny, one thing I just want to say about what what you were talking about, what the Packers might be missing, I agree. They need a number one corner. I think their offensive line is missing some big impact,
Their guards
run blockers.
need to get adjusted.
Because 19 for 55 on the ground with Jacobs is not Jacobs' fault. I can tell you that now. They got some explosives out of Chris Brooks and Jaden Reed from more gadgety stuff. But I think the offensive line, they had a false start. That really was the last mistake in this game. That was when it mattered the most. The person who let them down was an offensive lineman who had the false start, in scoring position.
Yep.
And it's just like you're at the 23-yard line and you get a 5-yard penalty, and that just takes you out of, I feel like, striking distance, and it really deflated them for the last time. And I think they can improve there too, is kind of one of my points. And I think, to be honest, they're a team that's in position to do that. Because I feel like they do have B's everywhere else. Like they don't have holes outside a corner. They could draft or sign a corner, but they got to get
Was Josh Jacobs wild for saying that he didn't have a real receiver?
Well, I feel like Dobbs
on his ass.
Dobbs had
on his ass in the beginning.
Dobbs was 8 for 124 and a touchdown. Golden, looked like he was breaking out in this game. 4 for 84 and a touchdown. Reed was effective. 4 for 43 and a touchdown, and then Watson 3 for 36 and a touchdown. They all were involved, and it seemed like, though there may have not been a number one, even on that last drive, each of them, Dobbs, I think then Reed, made catches that got them to that 23-yard line, and it was working. But the run game wasn't working that well, and the penalties were killing them. You can't go from 2nd and 9 to 2nd and 14. By a penalty in that situation. You just can't let it happen. The Bears, they won time of possession, but it was the penalties really that really costed the Packers in this one. And yeah, that is coaching. It should be, looked at for Matt Lafleur. What the hell's going on here? How do you guys start 21-3? How are you that much better to start? But then no adjustment in the second half, because it's like when you're winning like that, the ball's in the other team's court, kind of, because they get to adjust and kind of catch you off guard, and then you have to adjust on the fly. And I feel like that's how they always fail and choke these games away, is they don't have a second. Matt Lafleur didn't have like that second punch to finish for this Packers offense, and a lot of it was from penalties. Like they were moving the ball. It was just so weird. I'd be very, very angry if I was a Packers fan, just because it was the Bears. If it was any other team, it wouldn't be nearly as bad. The fact that it was the Bears makes it pretty ugly.
That's the biggest point I'm trying to make to you. That's my big. You blew it to the Bears. You can't, like,
one image.
If the Eagles blew a 21-3 lead, Cowboys, do you think they'd bring Nick Sirianni back? No, it wouldn't happen.
Well, if it was this year, I don't know. They won the Super Bowl last year, but I totally agree, because it's like the image I can't get out of my head is Matt LaFleur's face as Ben Johnson was walking up to shake his hand. I feel like you could see it on his face. He was really uncomfortable, really defeated. This is the man that just he's better than me. He was better than me in this game, and this is his first year. And then you see the other angle of Ben Johnson's face, and he's like, like trolling him, the nerd, Ben Johnson. Right? I've been loving Ben Johnson this year.
Another thing to that is I think Ben Johnson just did to LaFleur what LaFleur did to him earlier in the season, where he had like the clipboard. He hit him on the back with the clipboard. He did that to Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson returned that in the playoffs.
Yeah,
if you watch their handshake all 3 games.
Yeah, of all 3.
Yeah.
There's definite beef there, and just real quick, we forgot completely to talk about really the Bears in this one. I mean, I think we can sort of come back to them at the end when we talk about the bracket, and I think we move on to the last of the 4 games.